just buildings, we don't just consider that to be the projects, but we also consider that to be people. And our self-performed workforce is the reason why I have a job. It's the reason that Chris has a job. And we're going to talk a lot about communication. And so, just to liven it up a little bit, because I know it's after lunch, and everybody's a little fuzzy. I want to make sure everybody is not fuzzy here in just a second. So, who has ever had a spouse or had a significant other? Raise your hand. And of those people, who thought that you were an awesome communicator 100% of the time? If your hand was raised, you are a liar. Because I too am a liar, because I thought I was amazing. And so, the folks that I help support at DPR, they know I'm known for liking to have uncomfortable conversations. And I like uncomfortable conversations. For some reason, it just suits me. And so I want to tell you a story about an uncomfortable conversation that my spouse and I had. If you have kids, one of the really interesting things that you get to do as a parent is you get to have that conversation about Santa Claus. Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about Santa. So if we got some believers in here, and there's another room for you, we can talk about all that, right? So when my kid's 8, and it's 2014, and we live in Austin, Texas, and we're doing the Elf on the Shelf. And I don't know if y'all have ever done the Elf on the Shelf, but whoever invented that is the devil. And it's awful. And so I'm online, and I found all these things that I think are funny, right? I've got raisins out. I'm going to make a little guy do some things that are inappropriate. And my wife tells me that. She says, "That you cannot do that because that is not appropriate for our 8-year-old." Tenfold. Clear and concise communication. Clearly understood. Here's where the breakdown happened. We're sitting there and we said, "Hey, eventually we're going to have to tell this kid like the reality about Santa Claus because we don't want him to go to school and then there's going to be uncomfortable conversations. We want him to be armed with the right information to succeed." That was the end of that conversation. Unacceptable communication. I'm going to go ahead and put that one on my wife because she's not here. And so I can say that, right? And she also said, "Don't tell that story in public." I said, "Okay, I won't." So here's where we go. Right? Fast forward to Easter that same year. The dude is now 9. And my kid with holidays is absolutely bought in. He is 100% dialed into every holiday. He has a St. Patrick's Day outfit. He has 4th of July outfit. He's ready to go. He's all in. So we're getting ready to do Easter. And where we lived in Texas, we lived on 2 acres, and everything on our property will kill you. It's amazing. We got scorpions, we got red-headed centipedes, we got rattlesnakes, all kinds of stuff. And I want to tell you about my marriage here. It's so strong that in 2015 I had 28 scorpions in my house, and I'm still married. Boom. That's strong marriage here. So my wife says, "You know what? You're a safety guy. You need to go outside because we're going to have an Easter egg hunt at our house, on our property. We don't want people getting stung." And he's laughing at me. I too live in the future. It sucks, right? So I've got to make it safe for the kids. There's going to be a whole mess of kids coming over to my house. They're going to do an Easter egg hunt. And I've got to make it safe for them. We don't want to reach them into a hole and all of a sudden they get attacked. Right? And you're shaking your head. I think you know a little bit about Texas. So I'm out there waiting. I'm a safety guy. I am fully dressed out in PPE. I've got a face shield, because that's what I do. I'm wearing gloves. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm giggling because I know where I'm going to hide the eggs. And what's funny is that, you know when somebody's looking at you and you can feel it? And when you feel somebody staring at you and you know it's not going to be a good conversation, there's like this feeling that comes all over you. And felt the look, and I feel my wife stare, because I have been stared at by my wife before, and I know what that is. It's never going to be a good conversation. So here she comes out of the house, and she's got the look, and she's beelining it towards me. I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." Well, behind her is the little dude, who's 9, and he has crocodile tears coming out of his eyes. Just crying. And she said, "Cut it off." And I was like, "I don't know if I want to." I may just want to keep weeding at this point because I know she's pissed off, and so I'm going to have to address the situation. So, stop it. fight or flight, I decided to stay, and there wasn't going to be a fight, so I decided to take whatever was coming to me. So she said, I just told them that there's no Easter bunny. I was like, you did? And she goes, and now it's your turn to tell them about no Santa Claus. And I was like, no, I'm eating, and we're gonna have eggs. You know how fun that was gonna be? So the conversation before, well, we didn't have good communication about, hey, maybe we should tell the dude about Santa Claus one day. The day before Easter is when she decided this is the day we need to have a conversation. I was like, man, this is insane. So I sit him down, I'm like, okay, here's the deal, man. It's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity. You've got all these little cousins. You're old enough now. You can take this responsibility. We're all Santa Claus. Spoiler alert, no Easter Bunny, no Santa Claus. Everybody understand? So he's like, you know what? Everything you said to me is a lie. So I just like to be alone. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. To hear that as a dad with a 9-year-old dude, and he goes upstairs. And so I spend the rest of the day after I make it safe for the Easter egg hunt that we're going to have tomorrow, because there's no more Easter Bunny. How's that going to go? I work all day mending this relationship with this dude, because everything I've told him up until this point in his life has been a lie. And I'm having to make up for it, and I'm talking about all this stuff. And so, proud dad moment, I get it all squared away. I've got him tucked in bed, I'm snuggling with him. I'm like, dude, it's been a tough day, but it's going to get better. Every day's going to be better from here on forward. And he starts crying again. And I was like, what's wrong? And he goes, tell me about the tooth fairy. Again, we're a bunch of liars. We just put money in your pillows, right? So the reason for that story is maybe to get a little bit of laughs after lunch, get a little bit of the juices flowing, but it's to talk about the reason that we self-perform is to have a great safety message, communicate the expectations to our people. And so we're trying to have effective communication, so that's what the entire point of this presentation is. So Chris is going to tell you a little bit about what we do and why we do it.
Okay, so I don't have any crazy stories like Josh. Mine all in tears probably. Not happy like this dude. But so we are DPR. We want to talk about self-performance and some of the reasons why and how that relates to safety, how that relates to communication, how it relates to a number of things we'll get through here during this next half hour or so. These are some of the scopes that we self-perform. I want to maybe tell a little bit of a story here. So when we started the company, we started self-performing drywall. We're a general contractor, and so we're in charge of the entire project, but we're self-performing the drywall. Shortly after that, we added concrete. You may be thinking, okay, well, why drywall? Why concrete? What's the point behind that? And a lot of it drives back to how many different touch points we have on a job. How many times is drywall and concrete touching other trades on a job, touching critical points on the job, communicating with other trades on the job, driving the schedule, driving the quality. Those two, drywall and concrete, are probably two of the top 5 trades on a job site in terms of control, in terms of touch points with everybody else that's on a job site. So we can self-perform really anything we want. You guys can self-perform anything you want. But if you want to self-perform landscaping, that's great, but what is that really going to touch, control? What kind of impact is that going to have on a project? So some of those are the types of thought processes that we go through whenever we're self-performing on a project. And that led us to doors, frames, and hardware. There's a lot of technical aspects that go into coordinating frames and doors and hardware on a job. And there's a lot of security that goes in there. There's a lot of different touch points, interfaces with other trades. Fire stopping, if you think about fire stopping for just a minute, almost all of the critical trades on the job have some level of fire stopping, whether it's a through penetration, whether it's an edge of slab. Something that always has an inspection is always a leading activity before you move to the next activity, something that's there on the critical path. So there's a lot of opportunity when you're self-performing on a job to have control over that project, to have ability to impact how we're doing from a schedule and safety perspective and a cost perspective. We do concrete cutting and pouring ceilings. I'm going to flip through a little bit of these. Get to laser scanning for a minute. So laser scanning isn't really a trade, but it touches everything that we do. because it's easy. It's actually harder, and it's harder with benefit. So we'll talk through some of these. I want to make a quick point here about us specifically. From a drywall perspective, on the right there, from our revenue perspective, we'd be about the second largest drywall sub in the nation if we separated out our revenue on what we self-perform. And we'd be somewhere around 15, 16 for concrete. And that's not necessarily a brag, but it's more to say that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. There's a lot of lives that are under our direct care whenever we self-perform this great magnitude. But that responsibility doesn't just stop at our own employees. It continues all the way out throughout the project. And being able to have a large self-performing contingent, having folks that are invested in what we're trying to accomplish on a project at a great scale can greatly influence other employees of other firms that we have on our projects with. So it's really about scale and about the responsibility that comes with that.
Now, we've talked a little bit about kind of what we do. How many people do self-perform operations in here? How many firms have their own employees out there putting work in place? Like Chris said, it's a huge responsibility. That's a vital member of your workforce. That's a part of your family. And when we talk about safety with our own self-perform operations, these are people that we know, these are people that we trust, these are people that we have relationships with. And so it's imperative that we send these folks home safely every single day. I'm not a huge fan of this picture. This is what our marketing team thinks safety is. We got to talk to them about the dangers of concrete on the face. But either way is good. We're going to deal with that too. So on the next slide, we perform something called onboarding with our craftsmen and craftswomen. And I think that one of the things that it does is it provides an entire different level of engagement for our craftspeople. And I want to stop right there and say real quick, we live in a glass house, and we're not here to cast any stones and say that we do every single one of these things perfectly. We're aspiring to do every single one of these things perfectly. So it's a different mindset. We're absolutely trying every single day. So through the onboarding process, and Omar is sitting right here. He loves it when I say, hey, Omar, raise your hand. It's cool. He helped us develop this unbelievable onboarding training. And so they get a whole lot of information about the company. They get a whole lot of information about who we are culturally. But then they also get a series of trainings. Fall protection, ladders, GHS, and soon to be scaffolding, right? Heck yeah. We also do crucial conversations training. And we're going to talk about why that's important. Why is crucial conversations training important for our craftsmen and craftswomen?
It's just important for your leaders as well. You gotta have clear communication set. You gotta not have those conversations that are gonna make you comfortable. You gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable. You need to know who your priorities are, especially. Those are the unseen leaders in the group that are gonna sway what you say in the group. So if you pull them all together, you gotta go in the same direction and drive the impact of safety training one body in the right direction.
What's your name? David? Okay, he's going to be doing the rest of he basically did the rest of my presentation. So I'm done. Just sit down and do the rest of it. So we talk about that's important because we want to develop leaders because we know at DPR that our admin personnel cannot make everybody safe on the job site. The reason that we put so much effort into onboarding into our craftsmen and craftswomen is because we want them to also be safety leaders out on the job site. So the next slide talks about IFE, injury-free environment. And this is where we actually engage our employees, and actually basically everybody at that table there does the IFE training. It's impactful. It's meant to be emotionally stimulating. You're supposed to make them think about why it's important, so that if somebody's doing something in the field, they can actually have the power and feel empowered to go up and say something. And they can have the courage to do so. Because when one trade in the field tries to go up and talk to another trade in the field, it's exactly like going to your favorite dance club and asking somebody to dance. How many people are super comfortable with that? Going up there, here's my best moves. You do your best moves, and then you got rejection all the way across the floor, right? Same thing on the job site. So what we're trying to do, Chris, don't laugh at me. What we're trying to do is we're trying to empower them to have decent conversations. And if somebody's struggling from another trade, we want our folks to be leaders of people to be able to say, hey, you know what, here's a better way to do it, and here's why. Our safety professionals, I always say that we have the best safety professionals in the industry. I love the folks that work for DPR. And one of our secrets to success is we start developing safety coordinators at the craft level. So we're starting to find those folks, those diamonds in the rough, the coyotes. I don't know if that's appropriate, but I'm gonna say it until somebody tells me differently. Right? So we're trying to find those people that can help us out and help further the culture on the job site. Safety coordinator is somebody who can fix things, can learn, can help develop our culture, and also to help to talk to other people and tell them, hey, here's some of the things that we'd like you to do. Chris has an initiative that he's starting this year. It's pretty awesome. And that's before somebody, this is one of our stretch goals, before somebody gets promoted to foreman, we want them to be a safety coordinator first. We want them to understand how hard that job is for everybody in this room before they take on the leadership role of the company. And ready? This is still me now.
I think this is
Okay, this is still me. Holy cow, talking it along. So who has ever gone out and talked to somebody in the field or anywhere in the world and said, hey, good job? Who does that? Who gives Adam we could be super, super pumped about that. It's great to give recognition. We want to be uncomfortable at DPR because we like uncomfortable conversations, so that's what we're here to do. We want to take this onto a deeper level, and I want to give you guys an example of what one project is doing to basically change the world that our craftspeople live in. So everybody aspires to have their name on their hard hat. In the construction industry, we want everybody to have their name on their hard hat. Some people don't like it. We love to do it. On this particular job, they take it to the next level, and they're putting family members and people who they're aspiring to go home safely to on the side of their hard hat. So when you're out there engaging with somebody in the field, not only do you know their name, you also can know a little bit about their family. Some people got a lot of kids, and then just like trails and trails and trails around their hard hat, ends at the top. It's kind of cool. But the reason that's important is because we're trying to get them to understand this is not just a job. Construction is very dangerous work. We can make it safe, but they have to be emotionally attached to be able to do that. Now, the other recognition that's happening on this job is we do the crew of the month. And this is a pretty cool thing. So we take all the safety metrics and everything else, and we say, okay, who's the crew of the month? And we identify whoever it may be, whether it's DPR, self-perform, one of the trades, whoever it may be. And then that crew, amongst themselves, votes the safest person on that crew. And it's pretty impactful. It's not me saying, you're the safest person, stand up and get your award. They're voted amongst their peers. There's this huge banner that goes out in front of the job site. Their picture is plastered all over it. And the coolest thing about it is that they get to take that home to their family. Now, how impactful do y'all think it will be for somebody that's working out there, helping to build what we're doing out in our community, and taking something home and saying, hey, look what my peers think about me. It's a whole new level of engagement.
So Josh has been talking a lot about how we treat our employees. Yeah, you've been talking a lot just about how we treat our employees. And that's the primary focus. But from an underlying sort of business perspective, it's about control. And not necessarily maybe the control you're thinking of just, okay, do what I say. But it's more control to make sure things go the way they're supposed to. Make sure that people are going home safely, the project is achieving the goals that it's supposed to, the client's satisfied, everybody on the job site is satisfied. So if we dig a little bit deeper, that control permeates itself in the ability to set the example. So when you're self-performing a job, when we're self-performing a job, we're setting the example. We're not just barking orders that maybe that traditional command and control. Hey, you go here, you do this, you act this way, you come to this meeting. It's not just barking out orders, it's showing by example, out there physically in the in the field with our craftspeople, setting the example, showing the proper tile procedure, showing the right way to talk to each other on a job site, showing the right way to clean up your workspace, to maintain, clean workspace so you don't have propensity for injury. It's really set the example, set the tone, however you want to describe it. That's what provides the level of control that we're looking for. In addition to that, it's about respect. Josh talked a lot about respect. So if we respect our employees, if we show them the respect they deserve about their profession, that we care about what they're doing every day, that we want them to be successful every day, we want them to be safe every day, we show them that they're a part of the company, that they're achieving the same goal that we're out to achieve, that we're there to support them, they're going to feel better about what they're doing every day. And that's going to permeate itself onto the job site. They're going to start respecting the people that they're working with every day a little bit more. The electrician that the framer's talking to every day, there's going to be some respect that happens there because they know they're respected by their employer. And so again, it goes back a little bit to control. Now we've controlled the culture on the job. We don't have a disrespectful culture. We have a respectful culture. People feel like this is a place that they can come to work and feel like people will want to make them successful every day. Another way maybe to look at it too is you have folks that are respected for what they do by their employer, by the folks on the job site. If they're setting the example, everyone's working together. You now have a bunch more supervisors on the job. You don't have just folks coming to a job every day, working for 8 hours, maybe getting a little bit of work done and going home. You got folks that have a vested interest in what you're trying to accomplish, what the project is trying to accomplish every day. You've got folks that are looking out for each other. You got folks that, maybe they're engaged in setting a form for this column, but they notice that the mechanical opening is not the right spot. And they say something about it. And now we've increased the quality. Now we've increased the ability to maintain a schedule. Not just looking after yourself, but supervising in the sense of looking out for the good of the project and making sure things are in place the way they're supposed to. So it has more benefits to it, self-performing does, than just making our employees feel like they're respected, or making sure that they're safe every day, or making sure that we all have jobs and can live comfortable lives. It goes further than that. It goes further to the rest of the project and the rest of what we're trying to accomplish, which is building things every day. This is a little bit of a grainy picture, but I'm sure everybody here can tell right off the bat that there is something wrong on this job. We've lost control. There is not control in this project. And again, it's not the control of I'm going to tell you what to do and you're going to do what I'm saying. The culture of this job site is such that folks aren't caring about their trash, how they leave their workspace, what kind of product they're putting. Whenever we have a bunch of people on a job site that aren't necessarily having the same vested interest, or feel like they're not part of the common goal, or feel like they're not respected, you have things like this happen, right? You guys have seen this on your jobs. You can tell. You can walk out on the job and see pretty quickly, okay, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong with how people are interacting with each other, with how they're communicating.
I'd like to point out too, really quickly, that the gentleman is forward-thinking, and he has his blue protective booties on because he does not want to track dirt into the work area. So he's rushing. He's thinking about things that he can do. See?
Same kind of thing here. It's not necessarily as glaring as the last photo, but here we've got everybody trying to get their work done in the same spot, not respecting each other, not understanding that you need flow of work, space to work. Everybody needs to have the ability to get their work done productively. You've got folks just jammed in saying, I'm going to get my stuff done. It's my turn. Sorry about your luck, whoever you are next. Same kind of thing here, only at a little bit more risky scale. I think this isn't a project that I have any knowledge of, just saying that. But, I think you can count 11 pieces of equipment, and it's only maybe 1.5 acres or 2 acres. And whenever you have a culture on the job where you're not respecting employees or the crafter on the job, what you end up having is just saying, get out there and get a bunch of work done, because that shows that I'm in control, I'm in command, and we're getting work done, we're putting shit in, right? Well, how great a risk is there for an incident here? How great a risk is there for somebody to get hurt, not go home to their families the way they came to the job site, all for the sake of just getting a bunch of work done? These are the types of things that when we self-perform on our job, this is the tone that we're wanting to set. That it's not just about cramming a bunch of stuff in. It's not about being disrespectful to each other, and I'm going to go first, you're going to go second because I said so. It's really more about clearing the path. Making sure that somebody has the work they need, is working safely, working productively, knows what they have to get done, they got a clear objective, and they can feel respected in what they're doing. They can feel like they accomplished something. They can feel like they're a worthy part of what we're doing every day.
That was an awesome segue. That's why we brought it.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, there we go. I can't segue it that well. So we have a lot of meetings at DPR, and some would say that maybe we have too many meetings. But we do empower the folks out there putting work into the field to have a voice. Every voice counts. We have these meeting rules at DPR, and one of those is that there's no hierarchy in the room. Every voice carries the exact same amount of weight. And when you go into one of our meetings, it's a little bit uncomfortable, like I've said before, because there's not that boss that's controlling the message. Everybody's voice is heard. Everybody should have the opportunity to speak, and that helps us collaborate a lot more with the team members. And what that does is that transitions out to the field. And like I said, we live in a glass house. This is not always perfect, but this is what we aspire to be. We aspire for these folks to get up there and explain why their particular schedule point is important, why they can or cannot make that schedule. I've seen a couple of projects where into this big lean construction activities, and we're having our craftspeople get up and present. Do you know how scary that is for some of those folks to get up and speak in front of a group? But it's awesome. It's awesome to watch their growth and maturity. And if they have the courage to do that in this particular avenue here, they'll do it in the field as well.
Making a sort of a quick left turn, there's a difference between having employees and having temporary workers on the job site. Maybe some of this, to Josh's point, is maybe a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it's common knowledge, maybe it's not. But the reality is that a lot of times when we get temporary workers, they're 1099 and not W-2. And what that means is a few things. But maybe the most important thing for the folks here in this room is that because of that 1099 status, a lot of times the OSHA responsibility lands on GC. So we've shifted a lot of risk without being able to have the benefits of treating our employees the way we want to treat them, because they're not our employees, they're temporary workers. Maybe a lack of training, but then maybe most significantly, if an incident does occur, there's that word control again, you lose a little bit of control managing that incident. So, pop into some best practices here a little bit, and we'll jump in here. Really, some of the message we want to get across is hire new people. Hire people that work for you so that you can have the benefits of providing for them the things that they need to be successful in their job and successful in life. And be respected the way that they need to be respected out in the field. It's probably no secret that construction industry, particularly maybe in the Southeast, a lot of our workforce doesn't feel like they're respected as a profession. And it is a profession. This is just as much a profession as being a safety professional or being a project manager or being a maintenance person on an existing building. All those things are professions. They need to be respected as such. So hire them as your employees. Maybe second to that is that when we have a lot of our temporary workers on a job site that maybe aren't employees, the need for increased supervision goes up. And the reason for that is because you lose a little bit of that control that we've been talking about, or I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes or so. You lose a little bit of that because they're not your direct employees. You're not having that direct effect over them the same way that you would as if they were your employees. And so increasing supervision allows you to have the ability to ensure that folks are doing the things that we need them to be doing, right, on a daily basis. Working safely, working productively,
we keep going back and forth across this message, but it really does ring true. The more you treat somebody with respect, the better they're gonna feel, the more empowered they're gonna feel, the better quality work they're gonna put out in the place in the field. And sometimes you just run into one of these humbling experiences that you see in the field all the time. I love it when I get humbled and somebody just absolutely changes the way I think. And I was walking with Wendy, one of our safety professionals, and we're doing the names in the hard hat. And we ran into this young woman that was putting work into place, and she came up and she said, "What are you doing?" And so we told her, we started talking to her about her name. We said, who do you want to go home safely to? And she said it's her boyfriend. She said, got into this whole story about whether it was a boyfriend or a husband, and I was lost there for a minute, but we got back to the end. And she said something really cool. She said, "You know what? I've never ever had anybody ask me about my family. I've never had anybody ask me to put my name on a hard hat." And sometimes it's the very simple thing. You can walk up to somebody and slap them on the back and say, "Great job," and keep walking with your chest puffed out, or you can spend a couple of extra moments with that individual and find out who they are. Find out what they're doing. They do Facebook. They have soccer games. They do stuff when they're outside of work. And far too often we try to consider them robots or numbers, and okay, you're clocking in here and you clock out, we don't have to think about you. Make it a little bit uncomfortable on your job sites, and it's amazing what you'll learn from your employees.
Yeah, so maybe just to wrap up briefly, we've been talking a lot about self-performing and about having your own workforce. And the reality in Florida is that there are a lot of temporary workers out there working for all kinds of trades, working in all different types of scopes of work. But just to reiterate what Josh has said, that doesn't excuse treating people with respect every time. And I like what one gentleman said at the panel before. You know, it's not about compliance; it's about safety. And maybe change that just a little bit and say it's not about compliance; it's about motivation. And motivation starts with treating people with respect, and that goes across the board for anybody that's out on our job sites. So that's